Bonjour et bienvenue, hello and welcome to La Plagne in France on a snowy morning as we get ready for the first race of round 6 of the FIBT Viessmann Men's Skeleton World Cup. It's also the European Championships, the second time in La Plagne's history it's held the European Championships, back in 1994. That was just for men's bobsleigh. Hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven. Sitting alongside me is John Morgan. And John, this 92 Albertville Olympic track has been deluged with snow this week, but luckily it's covered all the way down.
Without this cover on this track, I don't think we'd be having a race today or tomorrow. Big, heavy, wet snow is coming overnight. You know, the track is long, and it's got the longest start. And of course, Tretchikoff, he owns the start record like he does almost every track. But then you have to get in quickly on this first curve. And the whole aspect of La Plagne is a lot of speed up top. And the pivotal part of the track comes up here in curve 4. It's 3. Now watch this big sweeping left. Quick change of direction. This is where you start to launch into a 3-corner combination. Right after this, every track's got a labyrinth. There's the right, there's the left, the right. Now another big sweeping power of a curve coming up here that, again, a lot of up and downs you'll see, but the perfect optimum line, I don't think it's same from one sled to the other. And a lot of speed, 75, 80 miles an hour down here, a lot of pressure. And this is where the track takes on this is the personality of the track. Right here, the big Omega curve. You're going to see some up and downs there, like almost at a Kreisel. And then a little uphill section here in the flat, and then this long straightaway. Boy, I call this the graveyard of time here into the finish. That straightaway, you could throw away a lot of time. And then you exit going uphill here. You can't make any mistakes because it's a long uphill before the exit.
Martin Dukurs, the reigning European champion, holds the track record here, and we expect him to be very much in the mix. He's had 4 wins out of 5 starts this season. Well, -7 of air temperature. It has started snowing again. The roads are being ploughed. There's over 1 metre of snow overnight, and the track is cold and fast. And it was pretty hard and pretty rough in training, but hopefully should be a little smoother for our skeleton athletes. 27 athletes from 17 nations, all trying to book a heat in the second run, or a run in the second heat. Top 20 go only. You can see just how cold it is. All the coaches wrapped up very warm up at the start area. Not going to see much sun today. Well, first off will be the man who owns the start record, Alexander Tretchikoff of Russia. That was set back in our first race back here in a decade, December 2011. And 19-year-old teen sensation Nikita Tregibov will be right behind him. The Dukurs brothers, Martin and Thomas, go off 6th and 7th. And only Tretchikoff and Martin Dukurs have actually won races this year. Be a surprise if anything much different happens. Just outside the top 20, we've got, or in 20th place, new name from the USA, a rookie Alan Blackwell. We've got Nicholas Timmings from Australia, another rookie, and Marian Bangiev of Bulgaria rounds out our entry. First sled on the ice, first run down La Plagne, the European Championships, race 6 underway in the World Cup Series. Alexander Tretchikoff, the start record is 5.59 seconds, little of an uncomfy load.
Oh, he does it by 100. Yeah. And he did have a little sloppy entrance in a curve 1, big wave. And you know, he's missed the first 2 events in North America, so he's going to have a problem with the World Cup title. European Championships. This is one of the 2 big events of the year, the European Championships, then of course the World Championships. And the Russian market draws number 1, and you can see the track's totally covered. You know, that's why we have so many low cameras. Without that cover, I don't think we'd be having a race like that.
And it really gives you the impression of speed. This is a very fast track indeed. 125.8 at the bottom, 78 miles an hour into the last straight uphill towards the finish.
Long straightaway here, the graveyard of time, I call that, especially for bobsleighs. Track record, toe boy, another day at the office, does it by 34 hundredths. But he owns so many start records and track records on the planet that it's, you know, that's why we call him the Russian rocket.
Impressive start speed here. Normally in the first corner it might be 42, 43 kilometers an hour. Here it's 72.
Look at the crossover. This is into the Omega curve. This is into the graveyard of time, the straightaway. Look at him. Look at the energy has to be coming forward. It's very bouncy. This is what the skeleton athletes have been complaining about, is the ice compared to St. Moritz, which is almost an unfair comparison. Ice is a little bumpy here.
1,800 meters above sea level. Alexander Chetikov puffing and blowing as his teammate, 19-year-old Nikita Tregibov, comes to the start line. 6th in the Olympic Games in Sochi in February. He's had 2 fifth places and a bronze medal in St. Moritz last week. Those are his only ever World Cup results.
Well, his teammate, Trechikov, just put down a track record, a start record.
Looked like a better load
Yeah,
from
looks like
Tregibov.
a better entrance, but he's 2/10 down. But boy, is this young Russian athlete who we did not see until the Olympic Games. We went, who's this guy on the Europa Cup? This is a rising star, but as we talked about, the Russians have a fleet of athletes, fleet of sleds, fleet of development. Yeah, this isn't the time that's going to match his teammate.
No, but he is closing. His speeds are rising, closer to Tretikov's. 4/10 back, he's barely lost any time. This is a nice-looking slide, given that his start was quite a lot slower. 1:25.7, barely any slower than his teammate at all at the bottom.
Yeah, he's holding his own after the start.
2100s back at the start, 4600s behind, what, half a second at the line maybe after that little skid?
He should be 6300s behind with the start efficiency, but he's only 62.
Oh, wow.
So he's been 100. So the start, we always multiply the start by 3. 2100s down 63, so he outdrove Trechikov by 100.
Well, given his lack of experience in terms of this track, he's put in a very nice run indeed.
Start technique, look at the hands, like a sprinter, pull forward. He's pulling the hand inside a little bit. The little bit I know about skeleton is they like to have that sprinting technique and bring that hand forward. The one-handed start, boy, you have to run a long ways on this track.
Longest start in the business. Next up from Great Britain, 27-year-old Dom Parsons.
Another good starter.
Bromley Sport sled. Eric Benotis, the coach there.
He should get within 10 hundredths of Trechikov.
2 fourth places in the last 2 outings.
Just missed in St. Moritz. Problems in the second run of toe drag there. Yeah, 5.
Looks like the groove might just be sending everybody a little left, and they'll have perhaps watched the forerunners and spotted that was happening.
So he's 30 hundredths down. All things being equal, he'll be 90 hundredths down at the bottom. But we'll find out if he has a good drive line. Last week in St. Moritz, Horseshoe diminished his chance to win it up. Half second down. But you can find time on this long, bumpy track.
See how noisy and clattery it is compared to St. Moritz.
Yeah, but St. Moritz you can't compare.
No,
This is, it's a natural track built into the ground. This isn't, the 2 inches of ice is what the athletes are sliding on concrete. Ooh, that's a big mistake.
A couple of big hits on the way down.
Now the straightaway, another bang, tap. 8,500s. Ooh, oh boy, that hit cost him a lot of time. That cost him an enormous amount of time, and that speed part of coming out of Omega, I think it is, in a crossover. You can see that bridge right where they cross over, right in front of our commentary position. We're like 5 stories up in the tower. Good perspective of looking at the weather and the hill, but here, look at this bang, crossover. Pretty good there. I mean, that's the 2-corner combination before Omega. Now look at this. This is the bottom part of the track. Trying to get over onto the take-on and look at him drift. That was worth a lot of time, Dom.
Next up, Matt Antoine, 29 years old now, 4th in the World Cup standings. 2 third positions, Lake Placid, and then in Königssee in Bavaria. Race 1 and race 4 of the series so far. And really getting faster, stronger, and more confident this year, I think, than we've ever seen him.
Well, that's what winning an Olympic medal will do. All the pressure's off. The rest of it. Ooh, that's looked like a skid there coming out of that groove again.
Yeah.
Right? He's 3,600s back. Geez, that's a sentence of death against Tretiakov. I mean, so all things being equal, like we said, Don Parsons should be 90-hundredths back. He was a minute 10 or a second 10 back. So Antoine's going to have all he can do to stay within 1 second with Tretiakov. That start and that mishap at the start.
Really quiet line, though. Nice, smooth run from Matt Antoine.
And if you consider the mistake that Parsons made down here in the exit of Omega. Ooh, little tap there. That throws him 53 to 51. He's bringing it back 126.9, best speed.
Yeah.
So Antoine is...
Ooh, a little skid there as well.
Watch the straightaway. He's perfect here. He's got a chance to stay in the top 3.
Samaritz is like a quarterback sitting in the pocket waiting for the pattern to finish. This is a quarterback scramble. Here you just get on with it.
And the 5,600s to 8,600s, bottom part of the track. That little tap up there in the high-speed part of the track around Omega, that cost him a lot of time, but still top 3. But he considering his start time, 3,600s down, he should be 1 second, 1,800s back, so he outdrove Tretiakov. But this start mishap, look at him, overloads, and watch him come out of the grooves. Now, this is the second sled we've seen this, and watch him have to steer. Remember Don Parsons, look at that come out of there.
Big skid.
Big skid. Parsons dragged his feet, Antoine did not.
Well, here's the hit that you get on the take on.
And look at his feet come up, aerodynamic position. Now we've got to go in the middle of the curve and steer. Got a bloody nose.
Yep. I don't know if that's the altitude or the hits. Christopher Grote here of Germany, 22-year-old soldier. Best result, 4th place in Calgary. And a bit of an up and down season so far.
Let's see him come out.
Long slide down into the first corner again, trying to negate that problem with the start groove.
So 3/10 down means he should be anything below 90-hundredths means he'll outdrive Tretiakov at the bottom, and he's going to need that to stay in the top 3.
Same start velocity, or same start time as Don Parsons, less velocity, but higher speed there than anybody except Tretiakov.
Get the form, good bullet form. The Germans really come to the table with some younger, better athletic skeleton team.
Well, the ice is so cold this morning, you want to run as small a contact patch on the runners as possible. 125.3 is not bad speed.
That's nowhere near what Antoine had. Antoine was
127.
26.9, yeah. But he's still holding on this 4,800, so he could be third. He could be 7,500s here, if all things being considered.
Just avoids the wall. Second place.
Now that's strange. With that speed, he was that clean on the bottom.
Well, again, running the smallest contact patch you can is minimum friction. It makes it hard to control, but he did a great job.
Hey, he drove the best sled, considering the start deficiency. He should have been 90-hundredths down. He ended up 5,800s down. There's the best driver of the 5 so far. Here's the Omega curve. Look at the form. This is where he started picking up time. Toe drag, that's the exit, the curve. A lot of pressure in that Omega curve down there.
Top 5, Alexander Tretiakov and young German Christopher Grote here. 22 sleds still to come. European champion 2014, Martins Dukurs of Latvia. The 30-year-old, also our World Cup points leader, hence the yellow jersey. 4 wins and a silver medal in Koenigsegg so far this season. So starting another streak with victory in Samaritz last week.
Well, this should get within 5,800s. Tretiakov.
5:58, Tretiakov start. And again, he has the skid, but deals with it well.
571, yeah, that's expected. But again, this is such a long start. This favors sprinters. Tretiakov is the sprinter. Long legs. This is where you can launch yourself for a long time. It's the longest start track probably on the circuit.
He had as good start velocity as Tretiakov, and the speed there is better than we've seen from anyone. So Dukurs is bringing it back, only 700s back after being 1,300s back at the start. He's in the green by a 10th.
Already. Ridiculous.
But there are so many opportunities to make a mistake on this track.
So far, this is a clinic. Oh, look at him come off that curve into the next one. Perfect line, perfect acceleration point.
Track record on its way. 128.4 high speed, but a big skid at the bottom and a hit on the wall.
This is like, come on.
Should have the lead.
Ridiculous.
4 tenths up.
Oh, how does he do it?
59.77, a brand new track record.
You know, 1,300 deficiency at the start. He should be, all things being equal, 4 tenths back, and he is 4 tenths ahead. Wow. I mean, that's why. When was the last time we didn't see him wearing the World Cup leader jersey? How many years ago?
Been a while.
Look at this, the crossover. This is what I was impressed with. Look at the way he hangs out, and then he comes over perfectly onto the Omega curve. This is where he really just afterburners on the bottom part of the track. His speeds down there were ridiculous.
His timing is flawless. Bronze medalist in the European Championships behind his brother Martins and Alexander Chechikov. Last year was 33-year-old Thomas Dukurs from Latvia. Thomas currently lies second in the World Cup standings. 3 silver medals at the start of the season, then 8th and 5th in the last 2 races.
Like his brother, I mean, he's taller than Martins, doesn't get the same start as
using the right-hand start group, which is
a pretty good start, though.
Yeah, 582 is 3rd quickest.
And let's see if he's got the same lines as younger brother Martins. But the way the Latvians are going this year, don't be surprised if he's not number 2. By the time he gets to about 89.4, that's pretty good speed.
Second only to Martins Dukurs in terms of speed there, so he's already 3 tenths back on Martins. That's still challenging Alexander Chechikov for 2nd place.
Interesting to see him talk about it. He's got a child and a boy, and his boy's playing hockey. Nothing he can do about it. Not skeleton. The kid's playing hockey. But hockey's a big sport in Latvia. So, yeah, big sport in Latvia. So, oh, my kid's playing hockey.
Kids play what their brothers and sisters play and what their school friends play. And in Latvia in the winter, that's hockey. Nice run.
3rd, 87 back. Well, it's pretty close to the German Grothier. So,
yeah, just ahead of Christopher Grothier.
So good battle. You know, there's only 1,500 separating 3rd, 4th, and 5th. 1st and 2nd, those 2 guys that have been going head-to-head for a couple of years, I think, are going to play with the gold and silver medal. Look at the lines here. Look at him come up. He disappears. I don't like that when you disappear. You should see some part of your body there. And then that's why, look what happens. He comes over the wrong side of the exit, taps there. That's a great shot by our TV team. You know, Martins Dukurs came across in that perfect exit.
30-year-old Japanese slider Hiro Takahashi next up lies 7th in the World Cup. This is his best World Cup season in terms of overall positions so far. 12th, 11th, 7th, 9th and 14th. Disappointing performance in Samaritz.
Arm swing. Run as far as you can, and you can run a long ways in this track, and then get on. 2100s back, so anything within 75, 80 hundredths at the bottom is a good run. And Takahashi could do that, but not with mistakes like that on the exit of 2. He was late. 71.5 speed.
Same speed as Thomas Dukurs.
87.7. It's 2 kilometers down there. The guy we call Superman, leading the race. Not surprised. It's pretty quiet, but not as quiet as Samaritz.
I'm wondering whether the first 2 or 3 guys had slightly frostier ice because Chechikov such a long way behind Martins Dukurs. Maybe just the early runners didn't have
I think Dukurs
too much of an advantage.
I think Dukurs put on a clinic.
Yeah, he really did.
Video game. 8th, 1.55. Michael Grugenberger looks on, coaches the Swiss, helps out with the Japanese. Usually the Japanese, I haven't seen Koshi this week. Maybe Kazimier's
No, I haven't seen Koshi Hatsan. Maybe might well be working with some of their younger athletes.
Yeah, the Europa Cup finals down there in this week in Innsbruck. Look at the high line. Look, remember, we saw Dukurs cross over here perfectly. That's pretty good there, too. But he had no speed. Looks like another nosebleed, maybe?
Wow, look how cold it is as well. They're really feeling the cold here. Matthias Guggenberger of Austria, the 30-year-old from Innsbruck, 8th in the World Cup rankings, 9th, 8th, 7th, 10th. And then 21st, a disaster in St. Moritz last week. Well, you've got to turn around and put that behind you. How long these guys are running. Over the crest. You've got to get to the crest before you load, no matter how much your legs are burning.
We had a lot of conversation on our Facebook page this week about different athletes talking about the short start in St. Moritz, the long start here at Plagne.
Yeah.
Very different strategy.
Well, from the shortest to the longest in a week, it really mixes up what the body is doing. Good speed.
And they talk about their legs, because they have to run farther. They have some problems with their thigh muscles. Not a problem, but they just feel it, a different strain. St. Moritz is 5 steps, they say. It's 5 to 6 steps shorter.
It must feel like 35 steps.
Ooh, not what you want to do. Speed, way out of
speed, yeah.
This be disappear, yeah. That means you could be a mistake here. Yeah, same thing we saw Thomas Dukurs do. When you see him disappear in Omega, they come out on the exit on the wrong side, and then they erase more time. This is the high-speed part of the track, 9th, Good friend. Looks like that's not what he expected out of his athlete. Martin Reynolds. And of course, the Austrians about a roll. Janine Flock winning the competition last week in St. Moritz, the first ever Austrian female to win a gold medal in the World Cup. Look how high he is here on the exit. Crossover. I don't know if he's going to get on the takedown without hitting before the takedown. And that's not what you want.
Stiff neck as well from that, so he's feeling the pain.
Everybody getting weighed down there in the first run.
Everybody getting beaten up by the track as well. 23-year-old Axel Jung, now former junior world champion. His ice coach is Dirk Matchins, who was a former skeleton slider as well. 4th, 5th, 4th, 7th, 6th. Yet to take a medal, but he lies 3rd in the World Cup standing, so he's been very consistent, but you want a medal.
Yeah, I don't know if he could say he's been pressing, but he's been close.
He has been close.
3rd in World Cup standings. 3rd in World Cup standings.
5:71 getaway, same as our leader, Martins Dukurs. Dukurs exit speed 72.1, his was 71.6, so sprinted well but didn't quite keep that momentum down the hill. See those long levers dangling around as he tries to straighten out the slide.
He's young, so I mean the Germans have come forward with a younger, more athletic team than they've had in the past. And emphasis on start times. At the start,
Third pace run at the moment, slipping just a fraction to 4th. 1:24.6. We're going to see a lot more 1:24s than 1:27s.
Second best start, though. You got to give him.
Yeah, tied with Martins Dukurs at the start. 5th place at the moment. Oh, a little skid.
This guy's just a matter of time. He's definitely going to be.
6th position at the line, just behind Nikita Tregebov by 0.12 of a second.
Young. He's got the start time in the German program. This is what the Germans went after. Athletes like this that can compete at the start. And then now it's just the technical. Now look how low his head was. That was great. This is the graveyard of time. I'll keep referencing. Listen, why it's a graveyard? Because there's so much room for air. He taps there. Now he's going to come over to the left side of our screen.
Axel Jung in 6th position after our first 10 athletes are down. It's the standout athletes of the season, Martins Dukurs and Alexander Tretiakov, who lead here in Plagne. Korean rocket, Sunbin Yoon, 20-year-old, been sliding for 2 seasons, already had a bronze and a silver medal this season. What can the young Korean sensation do here? Well, 5:73 start, just 200s off the race leader, Martins Dukurs.
Speed, not bad. He's been pretty surprising. Ooh, big tap out there, had a steer. Right foot out like a runner. And that cost him. He's a kilometer now. Of course, it's 2 years sliding. He's on the World Cup Tour. He's already medaled twice. He's right up there in World Cup standings.
Should have been 3 times as well. He was excluded off a 4th fastest run in Lake Placid when he didn't have his numbered vest on, his first ever World Cup start.
So
Good speed as well. Top 6, 7th place at the moment, just behind Matt Antoine of the USA in 8th position.
I wonder if he's even been here before. Of course, they only got 2 practice trips this week. First 2 days it was canceled, training because of the ice conditions. If they came from Königssee or Winterberg or Innsbruck to here is one thing. Coming from St. Moritz, which is glass, to here was a big change for the skeleton athletes.
That is going from glass to concrete. Evan Neufeld of Canada helping out there.
Look at the crossover. 15 to 16, 16 being the omega curve, but does he disappear?
Low line.
We can barely see him, so then if you see him in the exit here of the crossover, he probably stayed straight in the middle and not drifted to the left side of our screen like we've seen.
Third of our young Germans, Kilian von Schleinitz. He's the World Cup rookie this season, just 20 years old from Bavaria. Best results of the season in Königssee on home ice, 6th place finish.
Well, he's right up there in World Cup standings too.
Yep. It's had a little bit of an up and down season. 17th, 12th, 9th, 6th, and then 12th last weekend in St. Moritz.
We'll see what kind of athlete he is, because you have to be an athlete to deal with this start track, but he's the 12th guy down and he's the 12th best starter. Not good. So now he's got to be perfect. Look at the toes. Remember, the Korean dragged his foot right here. Oh, so does von Schleinitz. I don't think, I bet you if you look at the toes of Dukurs, I bet you there's no use in those toes.
No, I think you're pretty much right. Picking up speed against the guys at the tail of the field at the moment. 12th at the start, up to 10th.
It's not bad. These are decent lines. His feet. Watch the crossover here. 15 to 16 coming up right here. See if he crosses over with pressure. Yes. Does he disappear? No. That means he's going to have a problem here. Yeah, you go see he comes down the left side of our screen into the middle of the next curve. Dukurs came over and take on perfectly.
Avoids the big hit with the wall. Looks like a top 10 run. It is.
Well, considering how far he, look at Dirk, look at him just shake his head. He's just saying, well, he can't compete with that type of deficient start. St. Moritz made 12th best start, 10th best finish. He improved, but you can't give up that much time at the start. And this is the drift. Trying to stay off the wall. Look at him lean his head over, trying to bring his sled off the wall, and not bad. He stayed off that wall. That wasn't a bad steer.
12 sliders down, almost halfway through our field now as we get number 13 on the ice, Dave Krzyzewski of Canada. Krzyzewski, 35-year-old teacher from Brompton, Ontario. First World Cup season, 8th and 8th in the North American races. 13th, 16th, 13th, his 3 European starts so far.
One of the few rugby players in the field. Look at the way he had to steer out of those grooves. We've seen that problem from a couple people, including Trechikov, a second place sled. Russian rocket at the track record at the start, but his #1 nemesis, Martins Dukurs, had the best at the bottom, track record.
Really tough for guys with little experience of the ice here to come in after just 2 training runs.
And the Canadians have had a great record on this track. Jeff Payne, Duff Gibson, Melissa Hollingsworth. Second down. He's at 12th, so this is where you start to worry about people having runs to make the second run.
Yeah, 20. Once you get out of the top 12, then anyone is in the mix. Everyone is in the mix.
Good lines there in the bottom.
Good speed, 124.7.
12 out of 13 he beat.
Yeah, so he's got Matthias Guggenberger behind him. Guggenberger missed the cut last weekend in St. Moritz.
I think he's going to have a chance of missing the cut here too. 2 seconds down.
It's a possibility. It is a possibility. Well, Krzyzewski in 12th place. And teammate Evan Neufeld not sliding this weekend. Haven't caught up with him to find out why. May have had a crash in one of his 2 training runs.
This is a big man with the bear helmet coming down at us. Look at the bear.
Well, they call him Grizz because it's a lot easier to say than Krzyzewski.
I agree with you.
Krzyzewski.
He's out of breath.
You see
High
what I mean?
altitude up
Yeah.
here.
Same no rugby field. Well, next up is our third Russian. The Russians at the moment lying second and fifth. What can Sergei Chudinov produce? The 31-year-old was fifth in the Winter Games in Sochi.
Looking for a result. Last week at St. Moritz, what did he finish?
Seventh place.
Not bad, but still.
Consistency though, 6th, 15th, 7th. That's not a consistent trio of races so far.
Seventh best start. Expect that of him. But, you know, I think it's time for him to make a move. That young Russian that's in
Trechibov, yeah.
He's supplanted him as the #2 Russian, so...
And see, there's the drama for Chudi, is that Trechibov's probably not the only teenage sensation
somebody
waiting
else
in the
coming.
wings.
Yeah, so he could get bumped before the World Championships. They might bring somebody off the Europa Cup Tour if he doesn't start producing some results.
Well, he did enough to get his place in the team and to keep it in the World Cup squad after Christmas. So he is Russia's third best slider, 125.2, good speed.
Oh, but he disappears. Watch out here in the straightaway. No, got over there nice.
Still in fourth place.
This is pretty good.
Start. It's a good-looking run.
Head up, shoulders way up there.
Curse the commentator as he hits the wall.
Ooh, late there, 2.6. He lost some time at the bottom. Top 6. Willie Schneider doesn't like it, but because Chudinov, I think it's time.
Well, Trechibov is in front of him by 1100ths.
Well, it wouldn't have been if he didn't make that mistake down there in the graveyard. So Chudinov, he's now Russia 3.
Yep, he's 31 and Trechibov is 19.
Look at the great pictures here. Look at his left foot rudder into the Omega curve. No, that's in the 4, right? It's a 4.5, yeah. That's 4, exit of 4. That skid up there before the lap, but he still had good speed all the way to that straightaway in the bottom.
Raphael Meyer of Austria is next up. His teammate Matthias Guggenberger lies 14th and last in the frame at the moment. What can the 22-year-old from Innsbruck do? Still one of the youngest sliders in the field. 6th place finish in Lake Placid to start the season. It's gone downhill since then, down into low and mid-teens.
15th person down, 15th best start. That's not the asset that you need to produce a top 10 finish.
Gives away 4,300 to Martin's Dukurs.
And he's dragging his toes all the way down 3 to 4.
But he gives away nearly 6/10 at the start to Alexander Trechikov.
There's a labyrinth, three-quarter combination, not big pressure to the right. 7, 8. Watch him. Three-quarter combination here. Now watch as he comes through Omega. Let's see if he disappears. 124.4. Does he disappear? Yeah. That's the straightaway. Boom, that tap. Before the take-on, throws him in the middle, and that's going to erase a lot of time.
See so many sliders take that left shoulder hit and that right shoulder hit, so there's the matching bruises.
So the Austrians are in 14th and 15th now. I think both of them have a chance to be eliminated from the field.
Both of them are in danger.
Not a lot of people coming. I say both of them will make it. I say they'll both be like 18 or 19 if I'm looking at the rest of the start list. I say watch them disappear. And then watch him climb back up, and then watch what happens on the exit. He's way up. Now watch the exit. He taps before the take-on. That throws him to the middle. Look, now how much adjustment do you have to do?
Yeah.
That's a quarter of a second, but he's always smiling that
Always a big smile for Raphael Meyer. Martis Dukurs, the class of the field by 0.4 of a second still. $15 sliders down already out of 27 on our start list here in La Plagne, France. Mattia Gaspari next on the ice, young 21-year-old Italian. Not a massive sprinter. See a little loping stride there.
He's on the other group, but hey, it looks like he had a good entrance. 13th best start. Boy, look at that though. Half off his sled. And that next start, next speeds will reflect those errors. But that 13th best start, you can't make any mistakes at the top of the track like he just did. He's fighting for a top 20.
Yeah, and he's dropped almost the tail of the field already. But of course, without the speed at the start and knocking a bit off on the way down, you're going to drop further and further out of contention. See the coaches looking in from the side of the track. 124 flat, that may be the lowest speed we've seen. The lowest speed, in fact, was Matthias Guggenberger of Austria. But still very low, 14th place, ahead of the two Austrians at the moment. So that gives him a little cushion, 14th at the line.
Yeah, he'll take that. That's going to get him in the field. I don't think
might well do.
I don't think there's 6 people out there going to beat him. So he's locked himself up with a deficient start time, and then some problems in curve 2 to 3. Curve 1, I think it's 2 to 3, and then not bad. Considering the mistakes, not bad.
He's also the only Italian sliding this weekend.
Look at this. You think he's...
Yikes.
I mean, that's not aerodynamic.
That may not be the line that you're looking for.
He was trying to stay off that wall, and give him credit, he did.
Had to wrestle it around like a Cresta slider to try and sort that one out. Next up, Kyle Chester, USA, 33-year-old, originally from New Jersey, now lives in Lake Placid. 5th in Placid, and then 13th, 20th, 25th, and 26th. Last weekend, his confidence took a real knock again in St. Moritz. It's time to get the monkey off his back and put in a decent run. 6:01.
So anything is 90 hundredths down at the bottom right now. So anything within a second. In fact, I would think anything within the second 30.
Decent exit speed at the first corner. So 15th fastest starter. Whoa, a little late there.
Two-corner combination.
And again, no time in training means you've barely got time to relearn the track. You've got no time to work on equipment and setup and everything else.
Yeah, but it's the same for everybody.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
2 trips.
But it does makes it more of a lottery. 124.6 was half decent speed, up to 14th.
Got to do a wrong side of that straight away. That's what caused that. See that going into the curve? That's what caused the hit going out. Exit of the Omega curve, 16, 17, in the middle of the curve, and he bumped on the exit of the Tour. Looks on
14th place.
That could get him in the field.
That could well get him in the field, and that would be a big bonus for him.
He could have been up 20 hundredths better, but 16.
Well, listen,
he navigated 16 the wrong way.
If he can even hold on to 14th in Heat 2, that'll be his 3rd best result of the season. That's where you start to turn stuff around.
Now this is up top, 4-5 combination. What's the exit of 4 here? Little late, Kyle.
Too low, too early.
Nobody's had that line.
Yeah.
And then down on the bottom of the 15, 16, he had some real issues.
Came down early, got sent back up. Same as going to university. Next up, Yuki Sasahara, 30-year-old from Japan, is a long-distance runner, or was. That should come in handy here.
Well, sprinting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you gotta hold it out a long way here. If you're a good 100-meter runner, this is where the 100 comes in, not the 50-yard dash.
Doesn't help though if you're a 1,600-meter runner.
No. Nicky Grunberger at the top, yelling him off on his Bromley sled.
18th best start. That's
6:26. Fastest is a 5:58. So 7/10 slower.
So he's hoping to get within 2 seconds at the bottom. Both Austrian sleds are 2 seconds back.
Yeah.
He's hoping to get inside that. 88.5 is not bad, but it like Tracy flops off the exit of curve. Smooth.
Decent speed, but still only in 18th place. He hasn't picked up any ground from the start. Now he starts 17th.
See if he disappears. Where does he come out on the straightaway? In the middle of the curve, that means he could bump out of here. There, just missed it.
He can avoid the wall, 16th place. Will he be 15th at the line?
2 seconds, what? 191, that's not bad.
Place. So he's still in front of the two Austrians. I do fear they're neither going to make the race.
Yeah.
Who's outside the top 20? All right, maybe.
I don't know. I still think that there's only 1 or 2 more guys in the field that are going to stay in that top 20.
Yeah.
Here's the straightaway. Look at his head down. Then he lifts his head up to steer. I mean, let's see what's going on. And he's drifting. So look at his head, his shoulders, try and steer away.
And look at the way it's bouncing.
But he was late.
Jumping from ridge to ridge.
He was late coming in, steered too hard off, and now he's got this little skid. His feet are coming out like rudders to steer. Now he's got to weigh in.
Yeah, watching his replay. Next up, former ski jumper Barrett Martineau of Canada, World Cup rookie this season, as are pretty much all their team.
Isn't Axel Young or Von Schlenitz also a former ski jumper?
Yeah, Benny Meyer was, Raphael Meyer was as well.
Yeah, so we've got 4 ski jumpers in the field.
Made the cut twice this season in Lake Placid and in Koenigsee.
13th best start out of 18. That's optimal, but
if you can hold that all the way down the track, you're laughing.
Canadians have good results on this track. His teammate is in 13th place right now. The exit of 4. Sloppy through labyrinths. Big pressure curve to the right now, and this is where you start to rock it at 65 miles an hour, and it continues to close to over 80, and he's late there.
And this is where lack of experience on the track is really hurting Barrett everywhere he goes in Europe. 122.9, speed very low.
Does not disappear. It means he's got a lot of steer. Looks like he put the brakes on. This isn't bad.
14th down to 19th place. He's at the tail of the field.
Too much steering in Omega. You could see him the whole line around like that. That's he lost everything. Omega. So I would say he's really got a limited chance of making the field. But the next 7 sliders coming up.
Well, we've got 3 rookies.
And you don't make it all the way up the straightaway.
You know, you've hit a lot of stuff on the way down.
He lost all his speed down at Omega. Look at the crossover here. Now look at his body. It's not smooth. Now watch him skid. So then he's steering, and you see him all the way around Omega. Everybody else sort of disappears. Look at that. You saw him all the way around the whole line. That's steering, putting the brakes on.
Barrett Martineau in 19th place. Next up is our World Cup rookie. First ever World Cup race for 26-year-old Alan Blackwell, an actor and musician from Jackson, Mississippi.
Not too many Southerners from Jackson, Mississippi doing skeleton.
Got a Georgia girl in Milana Myers-Taylor, haven't we? A few Southern athletes, but they're a long way from the snow when they start off.
Well, that type of start, you can understand why he's only got his first World Cup appearance. Surprised that we didn't see Kyle Brown. Exit of 4, so he's like his teammate Kyle Trask. Labyrinths. Very outgoing, very happy-go-lucky. I talked about the track yesterday. He's been on the Europa Cup, the Intercontinental, America's Cup. He's toiled on the lesser tours. He's got a chance to run with the big dogs.
20th place at the moment behind Barrett Martineau. I want to take a look at his helmet. What's the pattern on that? Nice design.
20th place out of 20 sleds. 20th best start time.
So he's in the race at the moment, but there are 7 more sleds to come. One of whom, incidentally, is only competing for the European Championships, so isn't a rival in terms of a spot in the second heat.
Dinosaurs? I didn't hear what he said. Look at how high he was at 4, though. That's why, watch his feet here. High early, then comes up, back up late. Did not have a good line through that curve.
Yep. So, top 20 sliders safely down. Martis Dukurs of Latvia, our race leader from Alexander Tretikov. Thomas Dukurs in 3rd. That's your European medal podium from 12 months ago. Ronald Ardeset of Switzerland next up, 23-year-old, trying to make the cut for what would be only the third time this year, actually. Made it in Calgary, made it last week in St. Moritz. His best ever World Cup result, that was 18th spot. This is his rookie season, one of Mickey Grunberger's young development guys coming through. And the irony last weekend, John Morgan in St. Moritz, fastest Swiss skeleton slider, was one of the forerunners, Gregor Staley.
Gregor still likes to compete. I bet you he'd come out here and get a top 10 easy.
Still could. especially there.
Former world champion in 2007 and 1993. 14 years apart of his world championships and his Olympic bronze medal in 2002 in Salt Lake at the initial.
Retired 3 times in his career.
Nice.
You take your first ride in a bobsled or a skeleton, you either become addicted or you go to the parking lot. So it's either, there's no gray. There's no like, maybe I'll do it. And you come to develop a passion which drives all these people to be on the sport. Ooh, just watch out for this line. Yeah.
Well, he was up in 10th place early in the run, down to 17th at the moment. Keep it off the wall, Ronald, and you'll be in the second heat.
Should be.
Here his helmet scraping on the ice, 20th place.
So we got
that
one guy bumped. No, he lost his time at the bottom.
Alan Blackwell is out of the race, doesn't make the cut on his World Cup debut.
Omega, you know, then he got on the wrong side of Omega, tapped, goes over into 17 with too much pressure. And in the straightaway, he was loose in the straightaway. Look at his head down here. Watch him tap there. You can't tap there. You should be over here on the right side of your screen getting on the takeout. Now he's coming to the middle part of the curve. Too much steering.
In the race at the moment, but he is on the bubble in 20th as up comes our first-time starter from Australia, Nick Timmings. So one of a pair of twins making his first ever World Cup start. John Farrow there holding the sled for him. Or is that his brother? Couldn't quite see. Twins in sliding, that's all we need. Identification is tough with the helmet on anyway.
I don't know if his brother Brad is also qualified yet to compete. Start, 19th best start.
He's in front of a couple already from the start.
Both from Perth. I said, it's summer down there. They go, yeah, it's okay, we're getting out of the heat of Perth. This is definitely, this is not the ride we're going to show you how to do it. But it's just World Cup debut. And nice to see Australia with some new athletes into the field.
Oh. Like the Canadians, all self-funded. These guys are paying their own way.
I said, what did your parents say? They said, hey, will go ahead, do it. Certainly is using all the track.
Yes, he is. Skidding away all over the place.
Hey, World Cup debut. Probably see his brother next week.
He is at the top of the sport. 103.97.
Right there. Twins. They're fraternal, not identical. I asked that because I'm married to a fraternal twin.
So Nick Timmings does not make the cut. He and Alan Blackwell are 2 World Cup rookies. This is a tough track to come with only two training runs. Kidding me?
This is definitely going to make the replay. Watch.
Shoulders off the sled, body off the sled, hips off the sled. That's how late that was.
Really, he's way up where you should not be, boy. Hey, he made it exciting for us.
Well, plenty of ice for an ice bath when he needs one later. Coach Brian down there with the sled. We've still got 4 to go, 5 to go, in fact. Rhys Thornberry next for New Zealand. 24-year-old Royal Air Force weapons technician from RAF Bryce Norton.
Battle of the Tasman Seas.
Yeah.
Australia versus New Zealand.
Battle of the Antipodes. 6:11, so just a couple of hundreds behind Nick Timmings at the start. 20th fastest start.
We should start doing a little Bledisloe Cup, I think, is in rugby when Australia and New Zealand play. Start doing a little name for the skeleton.
There are so many great battles between Australia and New Zealand. They'll fight over a drop of rain down the window pane.
So he needs to improve. He's 22nd.
Yep, 21st place now. A little quieter than the Aussie we've just seen, Nicholas Timmings. Can he break into the field here? This would be making the cut for the first time if he does. 122 is decent speed at this end of the draw.
Feet come out there struggling.
Still 22nd place.
He's still going. His head's way up.
Yep.
That might be the highest head up off his shoulders.
I would like to bet he's never been on this track before this week. There's Ben Sanford coaching him.
That means Ben will most likely come and do commentary in the second run with us.
22nd place for Rhys Thornberry again. First year on the World Cup Tour. And he's only been sliding a full season last year and a part season the year before.
2 trips down in practice. Now watch his head come up. I mean, that's way up. Reese, you got to keep your head down a little bit more.
Look at the way the sled pitches and bumps over the ridges.
That's the nature of this track.
Well, it also shows how tense he is. When you see the Dukurs and Tretyakovs, they're relaxed on the sled and absorb all that. Next up, Alexandros Kefalas, 30-year-old from Samaden in Switzerland. Talked to him after the race last weekend, and he said he's got somebody to do his job for him, which is estate management, basically snow clearing this week.
Yeah, we saw.
So he said, I'm coming to La Plagne, got somebody else to do my job for me. Or to run the company for him, at least while he's away. See the snow blowing in at the start.
The Latvians are taking him under their arm.
Yeah.
24th best start, so he's behind the 8 ball.
Well, he admits now that he is basically working full-time and occasionally takes days holiday to come sliding. But he wants to keep himself in the frame. There is the chance, the possibility perhaps of going to the next Winter Games in 2018.
So he's married to his parents are a Swiss father, a Greek mother? Or
other way around, yeah. Greek father, Swiss mother. So, you know, most people would then end up in Greece where the warmth is, but no, they end up in Switzerland where the cold is. Still 24th place. 121.5 speed, not the worst we've seen down the bottom.
So we're talking to somebody trying to sneak in.
23rd.
Head down.
Good lead run here. Might just have enough to the line.
No.
23rd place.
It's about expected with the worst start time of the 24, and he finishes 23rd.
Yeah.
Second worst.
And again, only 2 training runs instead of 6, not helping anybody who is low on experience.
Well, look at the high line here. Airborne comes over, and, you know, I think this is easy.
And look at how fast they whip past the camera. They're doing 65, 70 miles an hour there. And Mirambel, he's 31-year-old from Barcelona. Trains at Espanyol, Barcelona's other football club.
Had a rough couple weeks. Koenigsee down in the Kelstein. He was airborne off the sled. And last week at Horseshoe, he might have been the most exciting line through Horseshoe, but both of those first round incidents didn't allow him to make the second one. So here's a chance here. With his experience, he should be able to get to the bottom in 20th place. Make the cut.
Well, that would be good. It'll be the first time this season he's had a 24th, 25th, 26th, 28th and 27th. So he's got all the 20s covered. What he needs to do now is get into the teens.
He wants to be a teenager. Right now, he's right outside.
21st place, just dropped out of the top 20.
And it's not getting any better. Ooh.
21st
and he's going to disappear. To watch the exit here. Yeah, wrong side. Watch him hit on the outlet here.
Not too bad.
No, not bad there. I don't think he's got enough.
Hit on the takeoff, 22nd place. On the bubble at the moment still is one of the older sets of Switzerland.
Side just shakes his head. I would really think we start to see better results from Anders.
Tied exactly with Greece's Alexandros Kefalas.
3:14 down.
The only Spanish slider in the World Cup.
Look at his head come up. Look at steering. Try to stay off the wall. And when you get over that far, that means he hits. Look at how he has to come down the middle of the curve. He lost a lot of time right there. I don't think it was enough to make the field, but really, I think he could have stayed 21st.
Really tough on these athletes. Very, very physical. Well, next up is our penultimate slider, Dorin Velicu from Romania, the 28-year-old now. Didn't do the North American races, 25th, 27th, 24th last week in St. Moritz. He's got a good start. He was in the race halfway down, and from Horseshoe, sort of drifted away from him.
And this is a good opportunity in the European Championships for him to get into the second run. Which, it's all about PBs for these athletes, personal bests, and that's not best right there. He had the 20th ranked start. That wasn't good. 70 mile an hour, 70 kilometer an hour, 43.5 mile an hour speed. That's caught. Ooh, he's off the sled. And now he's going to be another one, not going to make the cut. So I would think the Swiss athlete, 20th place, outer set, I think is going to make the cut.
I think you're right. 26th place for Doron Velickou. This is
Head way up.
bruising run as well. That's because he's now in self-preservation mode.
Well, he's going so slow, he's got a different line.
Skidding all over the place. Can't control the sled without the pressure.
Looks like 24th place. 25th place probably. 25th because of the tie. 23rd. 26th.
Yeah.
Wow, last. And that's not what you expect. He's got a little bit more experience to be finishing back. Of course, he was the only athlete in the field off his sled.
Yep. Needs more experience on this track, though. Just 2 trips down is not enough.
Curve 4. Watch him climb way up high. He hits the lip. And now watch him come down. Centrifugal force brings him back up here in the outlet. And hello.
Look at the woodwork.
Watch him come off the sled and him separate. Going across the ice with your body is not a good strategy.
That's painful. Painful run for Doron Velickou. Next up, Marin Bangiev of Bulgaria. Now, win, lose or draw, this guy is not registered for the World Cup, so he will not get or will not deny anybody a second run. He'll be invisible as far as World Cup positions are, but he's looking for a European Championship result here.
Yeah, there's rules that pertain to how many tracks over a 2-year period you have to compete on to enter the World Cup. You can almost call that the Jamaican rule from about 15 years ago, where somebody just show up at an event. I think it's 5 tracks over 2 years. But in the European Championships, there's a special rule that allows somebody off the Europa Cup without that 5-track rule to come and compete. And I think these people own a hotel here because there's a couple in the female that they live here. This is their home track. There's so many passenger rides. They take 14,000 people go down this track, either as a monobob, as a raft ride.
They have a coffin, don't they? You lie in this metal container and they shoot you off down the track feet first.
It's like $50, 50 euros for the raft ride. It's like for the monobob ride. There's our development coach.
103.80. So that puts him in 25th place, ahead of Nicholas Timmings of Australia and Doron Velickou of Romania. And just a salient reminder that the ice is slippery there for all the athletes.
Well, not the line you want. Look at him looking up and come over here, and now he's got a hit. Little ricochet rabbit. But hey.
Well, if this is his home track, he used some of that advantage. Came in 25th of the 27 sliders.
Throughout the Americans, Canadians, Japanese, Australians, and he's probably 17th in the world in the European Championships.
Could well be the case. So it is Martins Dukurs, our reigning European champion, who is our race leader here. In fact, the top 3 positions from last year's Europeans are exactly the same now. Martins Dukurs, Alexander Tretyakov, and Thomas Dukurs lead the field. So who is going to pick up the medals? Who will pick up the other places for the European Championship and the 6th Viessmann FIBT World Cup of the men's skeleton season? Well, look to Martins Dukurs again to be the front runner. He will go last in our second heat. Confirmation of the standings. 8700s covering the top 3 here. Christopher Grote here in 4th place, nearly a full second back from the electrifying run of Dukurs. And after just 2 rather than 6 training runs, really tough week for the athletes here. This is not a track that they've been to many times. A lot of them, this will only be their 2nd, maybe 3rd trip ever down this French ice track. Matthias Guggenberger, Barrett Martineau and Roland Alderset all make the race from Alan Blackwell of the USA on down, 21st to 27th. They do not get a second heat. Of course, we'll take out all non-European teams to decide the European rankings later. And then we will send 20 down to 1 in the second heat here. And that'll be coming up at 10:30 Central European, 9:30 GMT. That's 04:30 Eastern. So join us for that as we get to decide our European Championship medals and our winners here in La Plagne, France.